this is my review for Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Fall of Cybertron / War for Cybertron Shockwave. It's the same design that they used in War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, so you can call it either one. It really doesn't matter too much. Anyway, as you can see, he is what the box calls a flying artillery turret. Basically, he's a flying tank, which is pretty cool. I'm really glad that they went ahead and made him a totally different design from his original G1 alt mode, because I was initially afraid that they were going to do what they did with the War Within, which was basically recreate his G1 gun mode and make it a giant flying gun of death, which I thought was stupid. But they made a very different design. It does somewhat resemble his original G1 design, but it's different enough to where I like it. It's really, really cool. Very nice little vehicle mode. Not a whole lot to say about it. There's really no action features. There's no wheels, no launching missiles. There's really nothing to discuss. It is pretty nice. It doesn't have a whole lot of paint apps. It's mostly plastic mold color, but it does have some paint apps. It does have a nice kind of gunmetal silver, which the camera is actually picking out to be a lot shinier than it really is. It's actually a much darker silver. It looks really nice. He also does have this pinkish purple up near the gun barrel, which is kind of neat. It's also neat that they actually incorporate the weapon that he uses in robot mode into the actual design of the vehicle. I thought that was a really nice touch, and I really like it. You can, if you want, flip these fins back. They're supposed to be like this for robot mode. The instructions tell you to flip them forward, but I personally like the look of them flip back, but you can do whatever you want with it. So overall, yeah, not a bad little vehicle mode. I really dig it. Transformation, very simple. You want to go ahead and just flip these thrusters back, just to get it out of the way. Then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and flip these up, if you haven't already. What you want to do is you want to take these panels, and you want to rotate them down. And you can see that there is a tab on the end, and then there's a slot in his leg. You want to rotate it around, and then tab that in. Do the same on this side, and rotate that around, and tab that in. Go ahead and flip up these black pieces. They'll form his feet. Then you want to split the whole gun barrel section down the middle, like so. Raise this piece up a little. Go ahead and pull off his gun, which we'll get to in a minute. Then what you want to do is you want to straighten him up. You want to split the thruster section. You want to rotate this all the way down like so. And the reason you want to do that is because to get the head out, what you want to do is you want to rotate this piece that was on the top forward, like so. This is kind of neat. I really like how they ended up doing this for the head reveal. There's a tab right here, and then there's a button in the center of this piece right here. When you rotate it down and it hits that tab, his head pops up. I'll go ahead and show that off again a little bit more closely. Again, as you rotate that down, his head pops up, which is really cool. I really like that bit of transformation. It's not obtrusive, and it's really, really cool. I really like it. Anyway, then you want to go ahead and tab these pieces in. That'll also lock in his chest. Then you want to rotate these around, like so. Flip these pieces down, straighten his arms out. Do the same on this side. Again, flip those down, straighten it out. Go ahead and flip out the hands, like so. Then do the same on this side. It can be a little bit more difficult on this side on my figure, but use some force, you can't get it. And there you have Shockwave in robot mode. Really cool looking. Very, very close to the actual G1 design. You can actually get it a little bit closer if you want. If you don't like these fin pieces, you can rotate them down a little bit to get it out of the way, although they do protrude on his back. So it's all up to you. Personally, I like the look of them flipped forward just because I think they give them a nice, unique look, but it's all up to you. Very cool. Very, very nice head sculpt. Let's see if I can get a little bit more light on it. Very, very cool little head sculpt. I really dig it. I think that's probably the best Shockwave head sculpt we've ever gotten. It's really cool. Insanely good light piping, too. I'm using my little flashlight right here. You can see that thing just glows. I don't really care too much for the choice of plastic color they use. It's just kind of the camera's making it look to be red, but it's actually not. It's kind of this pinkish purple design. It's not horrible, but I would have preferred if they used straight up red or even yellow. But whatever. He also does have a very nicely detailed chest panel made out of translucent plastic. which is kind of cool. I mean, also a little Decepticon symbol on his chest, which is nice. So very cool. Very nice looking little robot mode. I really dig it. For posability, his head rotates left and right. It cannot go up and down. It does not have a ball joint. I don't really think it would have served a whole lot of purpose just due to the way that the head's designed. I don't think it could have gone up and down that much, but oh well, it is still a bit of a complaint. His shoulders do rotate. They can't rotate 360. These pieces get in the way a little bit, but they can rotate 360. He does have a joint right here at the shoulder to allow his arm to swing in and out. He does have a ball jointed elbow, and then at the mid-arm, he's got this nice joint that allows him to swing his arm back and forth at the bicep, which is kind of nice. It really helps when you're posing him, which is really cool. The wrists rotate in. There's not a whole lot of use to that, but it is there if you want it. Also, he does have ball-jointed hips, which go in and out and back and forth. He does bend at the knee. He does have 360 degrees of knee rotation, which is nice. The feet go down if you really want to use them, but I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of use of that, but it is there if you want it. Now with this gun, there's a couple of things you can do. It's a very nice gun, very big, definitely very menacing looking. There's a couple of things you can do with it. One, he does have a a hole, there we go. He does have a hole in the middle of his back, and you could string a hose into it if you wanted to and attach it to this gun if you wanted to, but anyway. He does have a hole in the back, and he does have a post on the gun, and you can, if you want, put it on the back. There is actually also another way to do it that's not mentioned in the instructions. This tab right here on the top of the barrel actually does fit into that hole very nicely. So you can store it on his back a little less obtrusively if you want. He also does have the ability to hold it in his hands. He doesn't hold it too well, which is a bit of a shame. It does pop off with some real nice force, which would be a major shame, but he does actually have the ability to make a gun arm, which is really nice. And it's not in the instructions, which I find rather strange, because it's not something that you would be able to find if you didn't know to look for it. But what you want to do, basically, is you want to rotate his wrist in, and this works on either arm. I've tried it. And you will notice that when you flip in his hand, it does form a slot. There's a tab in the middle of this gun, which you can kind of see. And you can plug it in onto his arm and tab it in. He does have his gun barrel, which is cool. I will warn you, it is a little bit tricky to get off. You kind of have to bend it to the side, but the tab is made of some fairly strong plastic, so I'm not really worried about it breaking. What's also neat, and they didn't have to do this, and this is more for fans of the game. I actually have not played the game. I don't have a system powerful enough to play either that or War for Cybertron. But what's really neat is they did throw in a reference to the game, that you can actually take this whole piece off. You will see it does have molded in rifle bits, which is kind of neat, because in the game, each character has a main weapon that's actually built into their body. So with Shockwave, of course, his standard weapon is his energy cannon. But if you picked up a power-up that allowed him to have a sniper rifle or just a machine gun or something, it would form something like this. So I thought that was a really nice little touch that they threw in. Again, they didn't have to do that, but I think it was a nice little touch on Hasbro's part that they did. For some real quick size comparisons, first off, for standard size comparisons, here he is next to Bumblebee. And you will see he is a little bit smaller, and certainly he's a lot thinner than the deluxes that we've been seeing over the past few years. I do kind of get why they did that, because petroleum prices are sky high, so they do have to use less plastic. I don't really understand why they're starting to charge so much for these guys for less plastic. I wouldn't have had a problem with or not having the figures as large as they were if they kept them at the same price. But I don't know why they increased the price, and then I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid personally, but no. Also just for fun, here he is. Next to War for Cybertron Megatron. Here you can see War for Cybertron Megatron is a lot taller than he is, but that's accurate scale, so really, really cool. So, overall, yeah, really, really nice little figure. I do plan to pick up Fall of Cybertron Jazz, and I'll definitely review him when I get him. I don't plan to pick up the Fall of Cybertron Optimus simply because I don't really dig the design, and plus it's just too tiny for my taste, but I'll definitely post a review of Fall of Cybertron Jazz when I get him. But anyway, very, very cool figure. Definitely recommend you get him. Very cool. So there you go, my look at Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Fall of Cybertron Shockwave. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.